Phones on silent mode or airplane mode, please check that once.
We'll relax the body. Good morning, everyone. Relax the body. Breathe with the music. Try to make the breathing as subtle as possible, as shallow as possible. Close your eyes. We'll first move through the body and relax the body. Take your attention to the two legs. Start with the right leg. Relax the toes and move up through the heel, through the calf muscle, through the knee to the thigh. In the same way, relax the left leg. From the toes to the thigh. Check both the legs if they are relaxed. Take your attention to the navel and relax the abdomen below the navel. Especially the perineum. Move the attention in the perineum and relax the perineum. Relax the abdomen above the navel. Especially the solar plexus. Relax the solar plexus area. Move to the back. Relax the back. Right side, left side. The whole back. Move your attention through the backbone. Relax each vertebra, each disc. Relax the chest. The two hands, start with the right hand. Relax the right hand from the fingers to the shoulder. Same way the left hand. From the fingers to the shoulder. Check both the hands. Any area remaining, relax it. Relax the neck. The two shoulders, right shoulder, left shoulder. There's a lot of tension in the shoulders. Loosen the jawbone. Relax the chin. The two lips, upper lip, lower lip. Loosen the tongue. Move your attention to the top of the mouth, the palate. The palate, the solar plexus, the perineum, is an inner connection. Relax the two cheeks, right cheek, left cheek. Right nostril, left nostril. Right ear. Left ear. The back of the head. The top of the head. The forehead. Relax the two eyes and around the eyes. Move through the body once. If you feel tension anywhere, relax it. Now we want to enter the pranic body. For that we'll do a little visualization. Visualize you're floating on the water. You're in the middle of the ocean floating on water. Sense the water touching the body. just the waves moving up and down. The body is like an empty vessel, just the breathing going in and out, the breath going in and out. Now feel within this body is another subtle body. Try to sense two bodies, the physical body, and within the physical body there is a subtle body. Try to sense it. If you can't sense it, visualize it. It's like water, it moves up and down in waves. It expands and contracts. Feel the body. The very sensitivity of it gives joy, a kind of inner bliss. Try to rotate the body anti-clockwise, lengthwise, anti-clockwise. Now look at the screen of the mind behind the forehead, as if you're sitting away and looking at a movie screen. Look at the screen of the mind. Any thoughts, any feelings, just see them and drop them. Now on that screen of the mind, try to create a few images. Induce a dream. You can take images of long ago, of people you have met, or your own grandmother, grandfather. And let the dream start. Feel the pranic body moving into the dream. As if you have entered the dream. You're also in the dream and you're watching the dream from outside. There are two feelings of I. See the story in the dream, see the colors, see the luminosity. This is all etheric material taking forms. It is material of the Pranmay Kosh taking forms in the Manomay Kosh. The forms are induced by our own sanskars, our own desires, our own feelings, our own knots, habits. Each form is made out of something which is induced from within. And within that, the feeling of I in the dream and the feeling of I observing the dream. Now slowly let all the figures dissolve into the dream. Just an empty space. In that empty space, we'll visualize a sunset. And that sunset will be the doorway to enter the Vijnanmay Kosh and the Anandmay Kosh. You're sitting on the beach. Feel the sand beneath you. Hear the sound of the waves. Breathing is still with the music but very shallow. Smell the sea. A cool breeze is touching the body. You're looking at the sun setting in the ocean. See the colors in the sky, red colors in the sky. Different shades of red. See the birds as they're flying home. The reflections of the sun in the water. Slowly the sun dissolves into the sea, sets into the ocean. And there is empty space. And that empty space is darkness. And the material of that darkness, when we look at it, it shines with a kind of luminosity. We are beyond the mind, we've left the mind, and we are sensing the Mahakal, the big time beyond the mind, the big memory beyond the mind. Everything begins from here, everything ends over here. So many times the universe has been created over here, so many times the universe is dissolved over here. Every breath we take comes from here. Every breath we exhale goes out here. Every moment of our lives we touch this space. This is the eternal space, the eternal time. And in that luminosity, see waves of darkness moving up and down. See the desire in those waves. They want to take form in light. They want to, from non-material darkness, they want to become material light. They are waiting to become light. They are waiting to take form. They want to fulfill the desire of the divine. Just see the waves touching each other, separating from each other, overpowering each other, dissolving into the ocean. Just waves of darkness. Now we'll hold this state for 2 minutes. If you can't hold the state, practice dissolving in the darkness, as if you are melting in the darkness. Keep watching the darkness. See the movement of the waves. It is not a horizontal movement, it is a rise and fall. Hold the darkness one more minute. Very relaxed holding, don't make an aggressive holding. Just hold that state. As if you're melting in that state. Now we'll slowly come back. We'll start with a few deep breaths. We'll start feeling the body. Bring pran back into the body. Tense and relax the toes a little. The fingers, the toes. Take a few more deep breaths. And slowly we come back and open the eyes. Open the eyes very gently. Can you draw? Because I can't see what you're drawing, so I don't know what you're drawing, so. I'll try and look this way. Right. So we were halfway through our journey and We started with the physical, the Annamay Kosh. We progressed to the Pranmay Kosh. And we entered the Manomay Kosh. And we saw the scenery in the Manomay Kosh. Manomay Kosh, we divided it into two parts. The lower part, the dreams which science can catch through rapid eye movement, and the symbolic dreams which are of the higher part. Now, the dreams which come in Manomay Kosh are personal dreams, and they are tinged with our desires and our likes and dislikes. They are my dreams. You're new? Today you've come? No. Acha, you came yourself. So, how are those dreams formed? What goes into the formation of those dreams? So, the material comes from the etheric world. The blueprint for the dreams, not the blueprint I'll say, but the desire which wants to take form in that material comes from our own memory patterns. What you're putting there? I'm looking at a corner. No. Little further. Okay. But the dreams which form, the memory pattern which forms, it takes on from a universal template. There is, beyond the Manomay Kosh, there are universal templates from which those personal memory patterns are made. So now we are going to be entering this world of universal templates, and we are going to divide it into three parts: the Vignanmay Kosh, the Anandmay Kosh, and from Annamay Kosh to Anandmay Kosh, we are still in the realm of the mind. Still in the realm of the mind. When we leave the Anandmay Kosh and move into Mahakal, the big time, the big memory, we have left the mind beyond. Now, these are not strict boundaries. Each world is interpenetrating the other world. It's just a difference of frequencies. So these are not that I say that I cannot be taken over here, does not mean it cannot go further. I'm just giving you an outline over here. Right? Just giving you a map of consciousness over here. So it's just a difference in vibrations, and these boundaries are not very clear boundaries. Each one melts into the other. So I'm going to take these three as one. This three as one. Now, we are on the borderline between personal and universal. In our normal life, we must make a practice of being free from likes and dislikes. Otherwise, we can't go ahead. If we still hold on to strong likes and dislikes, then the door to Vijnanmay Kosh will never open. Because the I is not there. The I dissolves. There is a sensitivity of being there, but if you try to say the word I, it is not possible. And the I is what you call crystallized in likes and dislikes. So, in normal life, make an effort to not have strong likes and dislikes. You see, many of our likes and dislikes, they crystallize into attitudes, right? And those attitudes are so automatic, so mechanical. I have an attitude to food. I have an attitude to different religions, right? And they just come on automatically. I may have an attitude to clothes, right? I may have an attitude to a person of a different caste, right? So these are likes and dislikes which have made deep grooves in the substance of the mind, as if they are controlling us completely. So in normal life, we make an effort to be free of like and dislike. That does not mean we don't have preferences. I may have a preference. I may like to wear a t-shirt rather than a shirt. But that does not mean that I won't wear a shirt. Can you understand? It's just a preference. It's not a like or dislike. I'd prefer it. But if it's not possible, I'd like to wear a shirt also. I would prefer cauliflower rather than brinjal. But if there's brinjal, I like that also. So, for a student on the spiritual path, there must be this effort to rise above likes and dislikes and move into preferences. We are aggressive about our likes and dislikes. We are obstinate about our likes and dislikes. And now we are entering into a realm where the I is not there. There's no question of liking or disliking. It has to be left behind. Time here is going to change. When we were in the Manomay Kosh, we said that 3 seconds may be equal to 20 years or 70 years, but I gave you the example of how that is done. That is done through scenes of dream transition. It is still a kind of linear time, moving from the past to the future. Now we are entering into a different kind of time. Time here becomes vertical rather than horizontal. Instead of moving from past to future, an entire pattern can be glimpsed at once. I see my whole life as a pattern. Right? And when I see that pattern, and when that pattern I bring it down into the logical mind, because the logical mind is the screen of the computer. Thank you. Then I can decide what to do with that pattern. So these patterns are looking for different universal figures, right? Supposing, we'll just take an example. You see a pattern, and that pattern tells you something about your life, or tells me something about my life, right? And the pattern says something about my relationship with money. The pattern says something about my relationship with money. And supposing the pattern takes the shape of a hand and something comes in the hand and falls out, right? Just a hand and something comes in, falls out, right? So I say in my life I will never be able to hold money, right? The pattern is telling me that in my life I'll never be able to hold money. It will come, but it will jump out also, right? It's not going to stay over there. Right? So it gives me some indication in which direction I should take my life. Whether it's, I may have a desire to have a lot of money, but now the pattern is telling me that's not possible. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Right? So I surrender to the pattern. I say, yeah, this is it. Now I live according to the pattern. I live according to the pattern. So many things will automatically change in my life. The first thing which will happen is a very deep relaxation in relationship to money. So the second thing is, somebody asked a question on worrying, right? The worrying of money will drop immediately. I know it's going to come and jump out, right? Can you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm just giving you a very basic, simple thing. These are geometric patterns. It's not so easy to understand them, but I'm trying to give you a basic thing because it gives us an time here is compressed into a pattern, right? So, and if we can understand those patterns, then we know what our soul is asking for in this life. So I'm sure of one thing, my soul is not asking for more money in this life. It's asking for something else. So in this area, there'll be patterns. Patterns will take universal forms. This is the area where you encounter different forms and those forms are more like templates. They are not our personal memory. They are not our personal memory, but our personal memory is formed out of those templates. So you may see teachers, you may see deities, you may see different statues of gods and goddesses. See, we go and worship, what do you call, but many of the, what do you call, statues which we worship are, somebody has seen them in this area and made it. Right? Now, if we see it in this area, there may be a slight difference. There may be a slight difference. Can you get what I'm saying? So the past and the future is present. The future is there, but the future is not going to reveal itself as an event. I won't see a series of events. Oh, tomorrow I'll do this, and day after I'll do this, and when I'm 70 I'll do this, and when I'm 75 I'll do this. It reveals itself in a kind of, like the seed contains the whole tree, the pattern contains the whole life, in that way. We may see it as a mandala. We may see different lines eating up energy. You know, These lines reveal themselves in our palms also sometimes, right? And see, when you no, I'm not an expert on palmistry, so don't nobody come and ask me anything about palmistry, right? I'm just trying to give you an example of how to see. Can you draw it for me, please? Yeah. This is the lifeline. This is the lifeline. Basic palmistry I'm talking about, basic palmistry. And this, yeah, oh, wow. You're good. You're good, you're good. No, just the lifeline. Don't draw all the. Okay, okay, doesn't matter. This is the lifeline. Now, if I see a line like this over there, I'm just giving you an example because you can don't take what you're seeing over there as palmistry. Don't take what you're seeing. Kiro was supposed to be the master of palmistry. So one day I was discussing Kiro with Mr. Tawaria, and Mr. Tawaria tells me it's all nonsense. So I say, how come nonsense? He's written so many books. He knew before he saw the hand. He was a seer. He was not. He never needed to see the hands. And he gave a beautiful example. And the next king of England in Kiro's time, I don't remember Prince something, what his name was. He told me at that time. He was a young child and he was more, what do you call, female than male. He was more female than male. And everyone in the court was, okay, this is the person who's, what do you call, going to, and he was always falling sick. He was always falling. So the doctors have said he's not going to, what do you call, become the king because he'll die before that. So I think he was 6 or 7 years old, and Kiro was called to give a reading on him, and there was a big this thing, and Kiro didn't know whom he had to read. He was just said that he had been called to the court, and there was a big, what do you call, curtain, and two hands came out of the curtain, and hands were like that of a young girl, 7-year-old young girl, soft hands. And Kiro took the hands. He didn't even see the lines. He took these are the hands which will wear the crown of England. So what don't take this as exact. I'm not giving you a lesson on palmistry. I'm trying to tell you what you will see in Vignanmay Kosh, right? So now supposing I see lines like this, and I see horizontal lines cutting across the line. Like this. Do you see in my hand a lot of horizontal lines cutting across the lifeline, right? So it means that I have a lot of debts of my past life, and those debts, the debtors are asking for take money as symbolic, not money, right? They are asking for their whatever they have given me, I have to pay it back. So this is a life where I have to pay back. Can you understand? Not take, not collect in my safe deposit vault. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Now, supposing the lines are, what do you call, vertical. Can you draw them again? Yeah. Then they are supporting me. They are giving support. So they're saying, in life, whatever profession I take, whatever, what do you call, line of action, it is not going to tell me the line of action, right? It's not going to tell me the line of action. But whatever, what do you call, endeavor I do in my life, right, the energy of life is supporting it. The energy of life is supporting it. So you will see patterns like this, geometrical patterns there in the Vignanmay Kosh. And those patterns will take on forms, they'll take on universal forms. Don't everyone look at your hands. I remember once I was explaining this, what do you call, Venus on Saturn over here. And everybody immediately started to say, because I said, if you have a Venus on Saturn, then you're going to make a lot of money in life. So, right? So people started looking at their hands. So the pattern in itself, the pattern reveals what we should do with our lives. Then if we can't understand the pattern, then the pattern takes on a universal form, not an individual form. Now, I'll just add one small thing over here, small thing over here. Many people, they ask about whether they should ride a motorcycle or a scooter. So can you draw the headline and headline and fate line? Fate line, headline, fate line. This is the fate line. Yeah, yeah. You're good at drawing, right? Maybe I'll see you in my Vignanmay Kosh. Headline, yeah. Okay. So now we have a headline and fate line. This is the fate line and this is the headline, right? Now, many times the fate line and the headline cut. Fate line and the headline cut. Okay, you can look at your hands for a minute, right? Right. Now, huh? That is not the head. That is the heart line you drew. The lower one is the headline. Right. It's a good sign that even after so many years of marriage, is still in the heart. Good sign. Good sign. Yeah. Such a huge heart line? Huh? Just the headline, yeah. Now, when the fate line cuts the headline, if the headline breaks into two, then that person has to be a little aware that, what do you call, some head accident is possible in my life. So he would not take risks in fast driving or in motorcycling or, adventure sports or things like that. So you will see these, now you can rub it out. We may see certain colors, and each color will have a different significance, right? So I may see pointed spokes of red color. And if you go into the Muladhara chakra, there are 12 spokes in the Muladhara chakra. One day we'll talk about what those 12 spokes mean, right? Excuse me. The structure may be a little ugly of the, right? So it is saying that I'm holding some deep resentment which is blocking everything in my life. Can you see? So the Vignanmay Kosh is the area of universal forms, right? And beyond those universal forms in the Anandmay Kosh are geometrical patterns. I've taken both together, sort of. Now, it doesn't mean that we only hear, get geometrical patterns. We may hear certain sounds. And the ears are closed, so the sound is being heard directly by the manas. This is called as Shruti. It's called as Shruti, right? We may hear a certain vibration, and that vibration, that sound gives us some meaning, because here the past, future is enclosed in that pattern of the now. So these will shape our future experiences, and we'll learn how to change those future experiences by bringing consciousness to certain things in our life, right? So the future cannot come here as an event. The event needs space to amplify. It can only come as a pattern, as a form. Now, the beauty of this Vijnanmay Kosh is, beyond that is the patterns, but the beauty is the universal forms. The universal forms. When I had here, I think 2-3 years ago, we had talked of the 10 Mahavidyas. We had talked of the 10 Mahavidyas. And when we talked about the 10 Mahavidyas, we said that for a number of years, they were not given external form. They were only in geometrical patterns called yantra, right? And then in the Guru Shishya Parampara, when the Guru, at a certain, and this happened all over India at the same time, nearly the same time. You can't put the exact date or something, right? And they said now these, what do you call, Mahavidya yantras may not be understood by the students, and so they put them in form. These are the forms you will see in the Vijnanmay Kosh. These are universal forms. Universal forms. Another science in India which came of these forms was the 64 yoginis. The 64 yoginis. So the geometrical patterns turned into facial forms, into statue forms, and many, what do you call, these forms embodied different things. I just take what they embodied. It could be divine love, it could be a mother, it could be a protector, it could be a witness, it could be beloved, it could be a destroyer. So these are universal forms, and we'll just take the matrukas in the yoginis. So there are 60, we say there is an alphabet of 64 forms. See, this is not, what do you call, there has to be 64 forms. There can be more, there can be less. I'm just trying to explain it to you, right? So these forms, motherhood, like we said, can be one form, right? Destroyer could be another form. Destroyer could be another form. Now, destroyer could mean many things. This is a universal template of destroyer, right? From that, I take my personal template. Now, in my personal template, I may be a destroyer of negativity. Can you understand? I am destroying my negative patterns, right? Another person could be a destroyer of other people's hopes and desires, but they both will come from the same universal template. And those universal templates are in the Vijnanmay Kosh. There is no story like in the Manomay Kosh. You cannot make a story out of it. In a dream, you can make a story out of it. Now, Supposing in my life I have met someone, I have met someone, and this happens in many people's lives. They met someone, and that person, I feel that, it is an exact, what do you call, counterpart to me. I feel what I desire, that person fulfills, right? My weaknesses are balanced by that person's strengths, right? It is like you break a plate, right? And there are two parts to the plate. And you see, the plate doesn't break in one straight line, it's going to break like uneven sides, right? And but you're able to fit the two sides together, very quick, right? And nobody can make out the, what do you call, the plates have broken. So many times in life you feel you have met the person and the two plates. Now, this is supposing you were to see that you are going to meet a person. What would you see in the Anandmay Kosh in the middle? So first you would see something in the Anandmay Kosh. Supposing you would see two lines, two circles separate, right? Meeting at one place, forming one circle. And sometimes relationships don't last forever, right? All relationships don't last forever, right? They drag on forever. But you meet the person and two circles become one, and then they separate again, and you see this pattern over there, and you know something is coming in your life which is going to, what do you call, fulfill you in some way, right? And then you're going to go on your path and become somebody new, and that person will go on his path or her path and become somebody new, and you see this pattern, huh? And that pattern, you may see it as a pattern in the Anandmay Kosh, or you may see it as a universal form in the Vijnanmay Kosh. What would you see it as a universal form? Now, okay, this is Benini, what do you call, sculpture of Saint Teresa. Okay, I'll just explain this first. You can switch this off just a minute. Then I'll just. Can you put the koshas, the three? Yeah. Can you take this off for a minute? We'll come back to this. Come back to this. Supposing we go through an experience of divine love. Divine love. Now, try to understand divine love has no likes and dislikes. It is not I love her and I don't love him. It's not possible, right? In divine love, it is like a inner flame which is lit, right? And whoever comes in front of you, even if your enemy comes in front of you, the flame has to fall upon him. You can't say he's my enemy. I can't love this guy, right? It's not possible. It's not possible, right? So, supposing in that you get a flash of divine love, in that uh, uh, Vijnanmay, Anandmay, Kosha, because I've taken all three together over here. I'm not trying, right? So, how would that experience come to me in the Manomay Kosh? It will take a form, it will take a universal form. So, say this is the ecstasy of Saint Teresa. The ecstasy of Saint Teresa. I've just taken a sculpture of uh, Bernini, right? Now, This is Bernini's version of it. Bernini's version of it. Now, let us try to see how this will start. How this will start. See, I'm finding it a little difficult to explain all this, but I hope you are able to, walk with me. I hope you're able to walk with me. So, we saw in Mahakal, everything is in waves. Everything is in waves. And the waves are seeking to materialize as light. The waves are seeking to materialize as light. Now, within those waves, say a small dot appears, the first dot of experience. That is, something in the waves has condensed into a dot. Did I tell you the story of my crystal ball and Mr. Tawaria? Yeah. So, see, the window on the crystal ball was not there. We had to visualize the window. And that window from the small crystal ball, it expanded, and suddenly he and I were in the room in the crystal ball. Can you understand now? You'll try to understand what I'm trying to say. So, in the waves, the dot is not there, but there is a condensation. There is a condensation. Simply a point, but a formless point. Formless point. And this wants to bring, express that inner experience which we are going through, or which we are going to go through tomorrow, day after, of divine love. Divine love. So, as it enters into a more materialistic, the vibrations get lower, it will try to seek light. It will try to seek light. That is, it will form luminous shapes like waves. So there were waves of darkness, non-materiality. Darkness is non-materiality. And light is the first materiality. So it will seek light. And you will see curved, beautiful forms of light mingling with one another. Right? And luminous forms of light, right? As if they are merging, like Saint Teresa merged with Christ. She merged with Christ, and this is that sculpture of Bernini, right? So you'll see the dot expanding, contracting, from darkness becoming light, luminosity, and suddenly as if they're both merging into it. And then it will come into those kind of lines in the Anandmay Kosh. Can you understand? It will move from into those lines, and those lines will take certain forms, right? These artists, they went into that area and saw those forms, and they drew them in their art. And if you see in this, you will see the same curves which that light was taking. You will see the same yearning for that in that divine ecstasy which you see. So in a statue, the artist has seen something in the Vijnanmay Kosh, and he has projected it into a statue. Now, you have to understand here that when the form appears in Manomay Kosh, in Vijnanmay Kosh, it will be a universal form, right? So it won't be like this. This is of the Manomay Kosh, right? So there it will be a kind of universal form. In the West, they have these universal forms which they call the tarot cards. The tarot cards, right? So they have 52 tarot cards, universal forms. So those are universal. But they mix with our personal memory pattern or sanskar. So Saint Teresa is going to see the angel of Christ, or she is going to see Christ. She is not going to see Shiv or Parvati or can you understand? Because the pattern will be taken out of her own memory. The pattern will be taken out of her, and that is what forms the dream in the Manomay Kosh. But in the Anandmay Kosh, the pattern is non-personal. There is no Christ over there. There is no what you call Shiva over there. There is no Vishnu over there, right? There is a universal pattern of divine love, and in the statue which he has created, in the statue which he, I have not had the what you call opportunity to see it real. I've just seen pictures of it, right? But in the statue which Bernini has created, you can see how he must have seen those forms merging with each other, expressing that divine love, right? And he put it into a statue, the what do you call, the merging of Christ, the love of Christ, the ecstasy of Christ coming into Saint Teresa, right? So similarly, we can have another one like this. Wow, that's a good one. So the universal one is a template. The universal one is a template. And from the template, a personal figure is made. Personal figure is made. Ah, what happened? You can't put it? The circle, one circle has become concave, the other circle has become convex, and the two sides of the plate are merging into one another, right? So this is a universal form. This is a universal form. But if some Hindu was to experience divine love, he would definitely not experience Christ. He would experience in a pattern which comes out of his own memory pattern. But the experience in both cases will be the same. The science of the experience won't change just because of my personal memory. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Now, the Vijnanmay Kosh is, like I said, the area where intuition opens up. Intuition opens up. And these, we see flashes of truth over there. Flashes of truth over there. And when these permeate down to our daily living, please understand there is no aggressiveness of this. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It is no absolutely. See, as we move into higher states of consciousness, the byproduct in our life is softness. If we move into more obstinacy, then there's something wrong. We have not experienced consciousness. If we become more rigid, we have not experienced consciousness. Can you understand? So we may have a flash, but we are not rigid about that flash. That is, in the Manomay Kosh becomes like the womb, and the flash descends into the womb, and we see something over there. Right? That is why I've taken all this together. Right? And we see that this is there, but it doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to happen. But if it happens, we know this is the right thing. That is what we have to do. It sort of brings us to a point in our lives where choices fall off. We know that we have to do this only and nothing else. Now, I try to put this in very plain language. Very plain language. And there is, in desire, there is my desire and the desire of the higher mind, or his desire. His desire. Does my desire synchronize with his desire? Does my desire align with his desire? Is it harmonious with his desire? This is just a way of putting it. This is just a way of putting it. So we have our personal desires and we have higher alignment to those desires. And in those flashes, we'll see this is what has to be done. Right? There's no choice. There's no choice. But if there is obstinacy, then there is something wrong. If there's obstinacy, there is something wrong. Right? There may be a commitment, but that commitment is very soft, very soft. So, in the higher bodies, in the higher minds, the states of the mind, there is no place for aggressiveness. There is no place for what you call obstinacy. There is no place for rigidity. That all has to be left behind before we enter over there. Consciousness is the softest substance in the world. Nothing is softer than consciousness. Once that consciousness descends, if you sit on a chair, you sit with softness. If you're climbing steps, you climb with softness. If you shake hands with somebody, you shake hands with softness. You speak to somebody, you speak with softness. You look at something, you look at softness, with softness. Right? That is the byproduct of consciousness. And softness always brings joy and ecstasy. And that is why consciousness fills our lives with joy and ecstasy. There's a softness about everything. Right? So, this is the area of intuition. It is the area where flashes descend. Right? And we can understand the higher opens up the mystery, the laws of the higher open up. Cause and effect are seen together. Right? The effect is the cause and the cause is the effect. Now, there are three things in life. There's cause, there's effect, and there's cause of cause. This is what we are now in which level over here? Cause of cause. Cause of cause. Let's try to take an example. Two friends, same age, they grow up together, get the same education, same degree, both very intelligent, right? They come out of college together. So, the cause of what they are, all their education, everything is the same cause, right? One goes on to become a minister in the government, and one becomes a social worker in a small village helping the poor. What was different? The cause of cause was different. Can you understand? The archetypal pattern lying in the Vijnanmay Kosh of one was of ruling others, right? Having power. He wanted to become a minister in the government. And the archetypal pattern of the other from the Vijnanmay Kosh was he wanted to help others, right? So he went into the village and became a social worker. The cause of both their personalities was the same, the education. Can you see? But deep down. So this is the level where we see the cause of our life. The cause of our life. Right? And try to understand. It doesn't mean that you have to become a minister. Right? You do, right? Some people are ministers in their home also. Right? Put this over there, put the shoes properly, where are the dishes, right? Right? Some people are ministers in their home. So can you see the archetypal pattern will be the same, right? So I'm not saying gent or ladies or anything. Right. Now, you see, this is a meeting ground. Meeting ground. And one penetrates into the other interpenetrates into the other. And we have to be aware over there. If it is emotion, where are we? In the Manomaya Kosh. Can you understand? And if it is bliss, where are we? In the Vijnanmaya Kosh or Anandmaya Kosh. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? In my personal life, I have, what do you call, made these as a kind of, what do you call, traffic light, right? Beacon. Beacon. So, what is the inner feeling when I hear something or somebody says something? Is it of my personal emotion, or is it higher than personal emotion, or does it take me a little lower into what you call like and dislike? So that gives me a kind of understanding of what I am sensing, what is coming in front of me. So I've used these as personal, what you call, traffic lights, road signs to tell me where I am in life at each moment in life. If it is bliss, then I know I'm somewhere in the higher. If I'm what you call feeling very emotional about something, then I know I'm somewhere lower. And if I'm stuck in ordinary likes or dislikes, then I know I'm even lower than that. So it gives me a where my state of being is at each moment in my life. Now, it is the emotion which decides the template, right? It is the Manomay Kosh which decides the template in the, what do you call, Vijnanmaya Kosh. Because it has to express through the form in the Manomay Kosh. Now, don't think you will see, what do you call, perfect figures. Perfect figures. We can take Narcissus. Narcissus. I took that. I think I took it with you, Narcissus. Have I taken? Then forget it. Right? We did. I told you, no, in deep meditation you'll see this, and I've taken that. I've taken that. We can take one more, conflict. But what I can you show that figure of two snakes? Two snakes. Yeah. So many times you may not see archetypal forms, you may see animal forms. And those animal forms tell us what we are seeking or not seeking. Yeah. Okay, we'll take one more conflict. Conflict. You have the conflict one? Yeah, okay. Conflict is what in Gurdjieff's sense we say that there are many eyes and each eye is pulling us in its own direction, right? So these are different arrows pulling the what do you call middle line in different directions, different directions. So you may see a figure like this, and this is a geometrical form of conflict. It will come down into a universal pattern. Maybe if you're seeing the what do you call tarot cards or something in the tarot cards, there is a figure of what is called the hanging man. The hanging man. right? The Hanging Man is a very significant card in the tarot, and it tells you that, what do you call, you're neither here nor there, you're hanging in between. So something is pulling you in this direction, something is pulling you in this direction, and you're hanging in between. What they say, dhobi ka kutta, right? Right. Right, you're hanging in between. So you may see something like that. Oh, you also have the hangman, right? So these tarot cards are universal forms, which are forms of us in the which and Jung did a lot of work on the poem, that Carl Jung, and he in India there are 64 yoginis, there are the 52 tarot cards. Now I want to just touch upon one thing, that the Sanskrit language, before we say the words, each letter in the Sanskrit language is an archetypal form. It is a sculpture. There is a, what do you call, and there is a sound, what do you call, vibrational tone attached to each sound. So each vibrational, you may see these kind of forms also in the Vignanmay Kosh, right? When Panini structured the Sanskrit language, right? He did not structure it through these archetypal forms. He heard the 16 sounds, and he, beyond those sounds, he heard those sounds as the from the drum of Shiva. He heard the sounds from the drum of Shiva, and from those 16 sounds he structured the whole different geometrical figures which became the Sanskrit language. Right? And that is why uh, it the see, there's the old Sanskrit and there's the new Sanskrit, that is pre-Paninian, right? And many of the meanings of words have changed after Panini, right? And the pre-Sanskrit was more natural, in the sense it was the, if this sound was to take shape, right? Well, so what would the shape be? That was the pre-Sanskrit. Then Panini sort of organized it into a, what do you call, a language kind of form, grammatical form, and all that. So the Sanskrit language is really basic archetypal forms, and you'll see many languages in the world, they are more drawing language than spoken language. That is, people have seen them over there, right? Now, can we take a, I'm finding it a little difficult to express this, but I'll try anyway. Anyway, first show the conflict, the battle of this thing, then we'll go ahead. Battle of Anghiari by Leonardo da Vinci. Of course, it is a drawing, and the painting has been done by Peter Paul Rubens, right? This is Rubens' copy of Leonardo's drawing, but you'll see everything is moving in different directions. Something is pulling, faces are twisted, right? There's duality everywhere, horses entangled with each other, forces, one pushing this way, one pushing in the other way, and conflict battling. So maybe Rubens saw those drawings or saw something, and he was able to do this on Leonardo's drawing. We don't know, right? One more we'll take, or yeah. Uh, One of my favorite ones is the universal form of pity. Michelangelo's Pieta, right? Beautiful one, right? A line bending down, looking with love, the the as if she's taken Jesus back into the cradle of birth, the young child. She's cradling him in his lap, right? And what do you call? Can you see the geometric lines? There's a triangle over there, as if everything is enclosed in the triangle. Soft curves there. You won't see any jagged lines over there. Even the triangle has been made to look like softness over there. And there's one wave coming like this and one wave bending to receive that wave. Right? So these he must have seen these forms over there in the Vignanmay Kosh and put it into a statue forms. Right? So okay. So these are some forms. Now I wanted to, how did God make the universe? Let's forget all this now. How did God make the universe? If there was a God, but the higher intelligence, whatever. Right? How did he make the universe? What went into the process of creation? What went into the process of creation? Right? This the desire to express, the desire to express, right? Yeah. But
You asked me, are you new? And I saw it. I saw that in my dream many, मतलब बहुत पहले. And I was wearing this, and now I'm remembering that I already saw this. And I was there in the camp, and you are asking me, are you new? The same words, okay? Same thing. I saw it in a dream. How can it be possible?
so your dream came to me. You're holding a lot of pain. You're holding a lot of pain. Right? And when you were doing the meditation, that pain was coming out of your this thing. It was radiating out. Right? So you have to do a lot of inner work. Lot of inner work. That is why I asked the question. That is why I asked the question. Knots of pain, right? Right, which we have collected over time. See, when you do, can you do one exercise? Sit in front of the mirror every day and stretch your lips. Smile. Yeah, your lips are drooping down. You drooping down. That is what is collective inside is reflecting in your lips. It is reflecting in your this thing. So just say, it's life is a big joke, right? Right. So just right in front of the mirror, look at the mirror, and right, stretch it out. Bring this flexibility back to the lips. Nothing is serious. This is all nonsense we are talking about. Vignanmay Kosh, right? Vignanmay Kosh and Manomay Kosh, right? I imagined it in a dream, right? I imagined it in a dream. So this will give us some understanding because what I've been trying to explain is very difficult, but it'll give us some understanding. I'll try. So God creates a space called the big time, Mahakal. Mahakal. And in that space there are waves. There are waves. Now there are two paths to creation. One is the macrocosm, which we don't want to go in, how the galaxies were created and all. That's not our problem. It's called the macrocosm. And one is the microcosm. This body-brain system of 5.5 feet. 5.5 feet, right? Mine is not even 5.5 feet. Okay. And everything interpenetrates in this body-brain system. So, there was the formless. There was the formless. And in that formless, God wanted to create form. God wanted to create form. So it was like a big ocean of emptiness, a big ocean of nothingness, right? And in that big ocean of nothingness, there were waves, right? There were waves. And one wave would go up, one wave would go down, but they are all a part of the ocean. They are all a part of the ocean, right? So we take these waves as what do you call the Mahakal, right? Beyond the mind. Beyond the mind there are waves where we leave the mind. Now the waves wanted to express themselves. The waves wanted to express themselves. So one wave told God that I don't like this guy next to me, right? We have to all live in the same ocean, right? So you please give me my property and my, a son goes to the father and says that you give me my share and I want to live life on my own. I want to live life on my own. So that which was one, this oneness is in the language of sound is known as Shabda Brahman. Shabda Brahman. One Omkar overlapping another Omkar, one Omkar overlap. There was nothing but Omkar, the sound of Om, the ocean of Om and waves of Om, one Omkar on the other. Then one Omkar said that I want to separate, right? So what is the process of separation? What is the process of separation, right? So in that process of where everything was darkness, formless, the first movement towards form, which we call as the dot, right? Darkness started becoming light. The darkness started becoming light, right? Right? The darkness is called as para. The light is called as pashyanti. The light is called as pashyanti. So light now took on different shades of light, different luminosities of light. And different circles of light, they merged with each other, they expressed in more what you call glowingness, less glowing, everything, and a whole range of light, but they were still together, they were still a part of the ocean. Now they had taken something which could be seen, but still it was a sort of boundary line between what you call the formless and the form was not created. But we could now see that one wave was separate from the other wave, even though they are part of the ocean, because of the differences in color, differences in light, we could see, right? But still they were saying, okay, we are not separate. We are all living in the same home. This is not proper, right? And they went back to God and said that you better do something about this, right? So then God said, okay, from the, what do you call, the light, lines of light formed, and these were the three forces. The three forces. These three forces got together and made separate entities called triangles. They were called as triads. Have any of you seen any of Picasso's work, even on the internet or something? Right? Picasso, he followed what do you call art form called cubism. Cubism. So, if there's a face in Picasso's paintings, then it is made of different cubes. Can you get what I'm trying to say? If there's a tree in Picasso's paintings, then it is made of different cubes. Right? So, the basic form in Picasso's paintings is cubism, the cube. Right? Similarly, the basic form now, the basic geometrical form in all of God's creations is the triangle. You understand what I'm trying to say? If He's made your face, He's made it out of a triangle, different triangles. And He's made my face, He's made out of a different triangles. So, this is called as a triad. This is called as a triad. These are Picasso's. It's not here, but doesn't matter, doesn't matter. I'm not very fond of Picasso's. I find those cubes very jagged and they hurt me a lot when I look at them. Likes and dislikes. I love Dali's paintings. They take me into a different world when you look at Dali's paintings. But Picasso got this basic theme of the universe, and he made his paintings out of different squares, different cubes, right? Similarly, the basic, what do you call, law in life that everything is a triangle. This triangle in the Indian terminology is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, right? Right? The basic triangle, the basic triad. In the Christian terminology, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, etc., etc. Right? And I'm sure all religions in the world, in some way, they can you see that basic geometrical form, the basic geometrical form, right, in the Anandmay Kosh, when it comes into the Vijnanmay Kosh, it takes on an archetypal statue or an archetypal drawing. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. But what is Brahma, Vishnu? It's just a triad of forces. Can you understand? But in Christian terminology, it will take a certain archetypal form. In Indian terminology, but this is this. You can't say my Brahma or you'd be stupid or my Shiva or my this thing. It's not possible, right? It's universal. It's universal, right? So God first created light, right? And that light was created through the sound of Omkar, but Omkar, the waves of Omkar, right? And the light took on different forms, but they were not satisfied with that, so they had to shift. So then they separated and they formed triads. And the world is nothing but triads, right? Now, this is just sidetracking a little. These triads can be in two forms. One is a balance of the three forces, and one is an imbalance of the three forces. Now, at this point where God created these triads, just pause a little, right? They wanted to express themselves as forms, right? They were still formless. They were still in the ocean of what is called Prakriti. The three forces were in the ocean, and they wanted to form the universe. If everything is just a what do you call balance of forces, then nothing can be created. There has to be an imbalance for creation. So then, what happened? These three forces, they became the five elements. They became the five elements. When the three forces are in balance, they become the Akash Tattva, and when the three forces are in imbalance, they become the Prithvi Tattva, right? The three forces are the remaining three in between, what we call water, fire, and air, wind. So the five elements are nothing but the triad, the triangle which God created. And because if everything goes back into Akash, they go into balance, then nothing is going to be created. They had to be created in imbalance, right? And that imbalance is the source of all creation in the five elements. Everything is created out of the five elements. But what are the five elements? Nothing but balance and imbalance of the three forces, the original triad. So everything is a triangle. Now, am I coming? How? You know, and you can see the genius of Picasso. He must have sensed something like this. He must have, what do you call that? There's nothing in this world but cubes, and from that he made all his wonderful paintings. But can you see what he must have sent something like this over there? Now, these five elements went to make a whole series of universal forms. Now, I'm just giving it to you, just take it with a pinch of salt. There's no exact way I can explain it. No exact. So we have an alphabet of the English language. What does that alphabet say? That every word in the English language comes from A to Z. Comes from A to Z. Similarly, what are the possibilities in the human psyche? What are the possibilities in the human mind? So I'm happy, I'm sad, right? I feel a longing for a person, I feel depressed, I feel resentment, I feel. All these are possibilities of the human mind. So, if all these possibilities were to be put in an alphabet, if all these possibilities would be to put in the alphabet, so different systems came out with different alphabets, different systems. These alphabets were the non-form taking the form. The non-form, that is, all the possibilities in the human mind, right? What form would they take? So I'm looking at him, I'm feeling happy. What is the movement of form in that happiness? Can you understand what I'm? But today I'm depressed. right? I used to have an astrologer friend, right? And good astrologer, good astrologer. And we used to discuss sometimes, but he had this very funny thing about him. In the one day he would come with some band tied around his head like this and all that. So I'd ask him, okay, what's the problem today? He said, Moon is in this constellation and Saturn is in this constellation. No, I have to get a headache today. That is why before I get the headache, I've tied up the band. Right? He died, of course, poor chap. So, all the possibilities of the human mind are were mapped out by God, and He said, "This is the alphabet of the human mind. This is the alphabet of human emotions. This is the alphabet of human thinking." Right? I hope you are with me in all this. Huh? I don't know. And different, what do you call, different cultures, different systems in the world made them into different forms, gave them different forms, right? So in the tantric terminology, they were 64 statues or the 10 Mahavidyas, which are part of that. It's just an extension, right? In the, what do you call, Vedanta terminology, they were given 52 forms, which became the letters of the Sanskrit alphabet. So they started as sound, they became light. From light, they took what you call geometrical form, and from geometrical form, they took sculptural form, right? Which was then in the Vignanmay Kosh. And when I use those words, I bring them down into the Manomay Kosh. I add the emotion to the words. So, supposing Ka is one word, the Ka is lying in Vignanmay Kosh, right? So in Gujarati, we have a saying, Kem cho, how are you? Kem cho. So I meet you, I say, Kem cho. So that Ka has come from Vignanmay Kosh. It has the power to express my emotion, and I use the word Kem cho. It comes out to you. Can you get what I'm saying? That Ka is lying in my chakras. That is the Vignanmay Kosh. Can you get? There is lying in my chakras. So, in certain systems, they expressed it as the 52 letters of the Sanskrit alphabet. In other systems, they made 64 statues of different goddesses. They were still sound statues expressing different emotions. Each letter of the Sanskrit alphabet expresses a certain emotion, it expresses a certain sound. And those sounds come to my tongue, right? I'll now finish this and then take something else. We still got little time. Sit for 5 minutes more. So in the Vignanmay Kosh, we are going to see all these impersonal patterns. Of course, in the West, they came out with angels and what do you call, different forms of angels and all that. And of course, the tarot cards. There again, there are 52 letters in the Sanskrit alphabet, 52 tarot cards. Yeah? All this is related. This is all the impersonal layer of life, the non-personal layer of life, non-I layer of life, called the Vignanmay Kosh. But when we use it, it comes into Manomay Kosh. When it comes into Manomay Kosh, it takes a form. It takes a form from our memory pattern. Now, these words, now I'm digressing a little, but these words had to be available to the human ear. Had to be available to the human ear. When God created these patterns, they were always there. There was nothing to create. So they are non-create. They are non-create. Still, to use language, we have to say He created them. But they are non-create. They are always there. They are lying there forever and ever. Sanatan. Now, to express them, they needed a body. Just like we die and then to express ourselves again, we need a body to. We come into the body to gather consciousness, right? In some other body, there's no possibility of consciousness, so we have to come into the human body to gather consciousness. To say, so I have to say to her, how are you, Kemcho, right? So that ka, right, which is lying in the Anahat chakra, that ka which is lying in the Anahat chakra, it needed a body of expression. It needed a body of expression, right? It it can't reveal itself without taking form. It can't reveal it. Take the body as a sculpture, as a piece of sculpture, right? So in the throat, I'll use the English language. I won't use the Sanskrit language. It becomes more complicated. But in the throat, 5 sounds were put. What were those sounds? A, E, I, O, U. Can you understand? Now, I want to say Kem Chof to her. What is coming out of my throat? But I stop the at a certain place. That sound from the chakra meets there, and I say Kem Choka is formed, right? So that which was formless, it takes on a body and becomes a form in external language. I have brought it down from the Vignanmay Kosh through my feelings in the Manomay Kosh, that how are you? I have a feeling about you. I want to ask, how are you? It has come into the form as a letter. It can't express itself. It needs a body of sound. I give it a body of sound. And that I stop in a certain way at near my teeth, near my this thing, what do you call lips, near my tongue, and it I'm able to express it in physical form, in the language of the Annamay Kosh, right? Kemcho. Can you understand? So this is how language was initially created, right? Now, how did he create all these forms? How did he create all these forms? Right? So he must have come down to the Vignanmay Kosh, right? And like in our Yoga-Nidra, we go back to where he came down, right? He did reverse Yoga-Nidra. And he says, I want to create form. What did he have in his hands? Sound and light. What did he have in his hands? Sound and light and the 3 forces. And those 3 forces were the product of sound and light. Right? So, just as we are able to project a dream in Manomay Kosh, just as we are able to project a dream in Manomay Kosh, right? This is the dream of God. This is his Manomay Kosh. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? This is his Manomay Kosh. So he says, I want to create a cow. He says, I want to create a cow. And how was that cow created? How was that cow created? Right? So he has this sound energy in his hand. He has the drawing crayons and all that in his hand of light and this thing. So he says the mantra, go, and that in the Manomay Kosh, in the universe of man, cow was created. He projected it from the mind of God into the, what do you call, universe of man. Can you understand? Now, so in the original Sanskrit language was the original sounds which God created. Then sort of Panini, what do you call, he scientifically put them together. Right? So the cow is walking through space, and a person who has a higher ear, has reached the state of pratyahar, he can hear that this cow moving through space, it is creating friction with space and giving out the sound go, cow, go, right? It is giving out that sound. This is the name of this animal. But what is the name of that animal? That how God created the dream in his own mind and projected it out on the screen of the universe. And the original Sanskrit language was created. It was these figures, patterns which were there in Manomay Kosh, which God used and projected everything on the screen of the universe. And that is why it was a natural language. Then in different cultures, the sounds changed. And then, of course, grammar came in and everything became more organized, right? I won't say it became worse, it became organized, right? It became enriched, right? So, I don't know, have I come across in all this? So, we are in the individual mind, my mind. When we enter into the universal mind, we share that mind with God. We are in the same space in which he created the universe. We are in the same space in which he created the universe. We are using those same forms, and that understanding comes over there, that what is the mystery of this universe, how things were created, how he must have sat there as the great dreamer and dreamed everything into what you call into existence, right? So I think I've gone through the koshas. Because some people are leaving tomorrow, we'll take question answers tomorrow morning. I want to go through the Yoga-Nidra with today's modern brain patterns. So I'll take the brain patterns in the afternoon. Any questions anyone has can ask just now. Right.
Uncle.
Yeah. Yeah, she's. Yeah.
Sir,
Chivalry. Ladies first.
sir, while
Yeah,
chanting
please.
Omkar mantra, are our chakras scanned? Do you?
Don't bother about the chakras, just don't bother about it.
That all chakras are going in straight line and as if
Sense it, sense it and ignore it. Sense it and ignore it. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry. We'll talk about the chakras someday. It's all a part of the manas. The three parts of the mind. I talked about the buddhi, the aham and the manas. The chakras come in the etheric body. They are a part of the manas, but they encompass some more. And we'll have to go very deep into maybe some camp in the next few years. I don't know. Huh?
We talked about the triangle pattern and like Akash Tattva and Prithvi Tattva, and then we said like fire, water, and air are like
Fire, water, and wind.
wind.
Yeah.
So maybe align like Akash is and the earth is there, but in which sequence comes the other three? Is there any sequence, or we should not get into that?
There is a sequence.
So
There is a
if we
sequence.
go by from low to high,
There's a sequence of involution. I don't want to go into that. But it is a sequence of what you call movement. The sequence of movement. So you have a circle in which there's everything. It is which? Akash. Right? Now in the circle there's a downward movement. That is Agni. There are two sideways movement. That is wind. Right? Element. And there's an upward movement. Sorry. So the downward movement is apas, jal tattva, and the upward movement is Agni. Within the circle there are three other movements. When those movements solidify into one tattva, it is, and when they vanish into balance, they are Akash. This is Prithvi tattva, when they solidify into something. Right? So when the three create something, it is Prithvi. And when the three go back into rhythm and balance, it is Akash. That is why we do three-step rhythmic breathing, to go back into rhythm and balance. Right?
And the sound and light. So those are not. My assumption was like those are byproduct. So those are, as I understood now, it is not a
It is
byproduct.
the desire energy of God expressing itself. The desire energy was in Omkar, one wave upon the other. But what to do with Omkar, right? I can't eat a meal, right? So they had to express itself. So light came in and lines of geometry came in and everything. I just try to take you that if you go in Yoga-Nidra, you can reach up to here, the whole process of Yoga-Nidra, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, in Mahakal, there is nothingness and there's darkness and um, no formation. So, what are waves? Maybe I'm thinking about this too logically, but I just want to understand what are waves.
That within the Mahakal, because there is a dim luminous light, you will see shades of darkness. I'm just giving you something to take you, what do you call, a traffic light on the journey, a milestone on the journey. The waves of darkness. It's Omkar, one Omkar banging against another Omkar.
Thank you.
There's some limits to what I can express. I can't take you there and make you stand. I can try my best to express whatever is there, right?
So I just want some clarification. There was an experiment done, which I saw on YouTube recently. They would take a tray, put sand on the tray, hold the mic close to the tray, and then play sounds. From each sound, different patterns were formed on the tray. Is that from the Annamaya Kosh?
Yeah. In a way, you can say that, right? So, if you see this symbol which we have, our symbol, do you have it? Now, this is a very old experiment. It was done more than 100 years ago, right? And what do you call? The similar thing is that what kind of uh, geometry would form through the Gayatri mantra? So that is what I've taken as the symbol of our whole movement. This is the symbol I've taken. What kind of pattern would you see if you're doing the Gayatri mantra? Then you would see something like this. Right? Does not have to be fixed. This is all movement that I've not given it fixed points. It is wave-like points I've taken. Right? So this is something like that. So the same pattern should happen through three-step rhythmic breathing. Three-step rhythmic breathing. Shall we stop here? Yeah. Thank you. Huh? Yeah, please.
Uncle, we talked that one wave or maybe one Omkar wanted to live differently. It can be a symbolic thing you are trying to explain us maybe, but I mean means that those waves were having brain or they were living objects.
Just the desire of God expressing itself.
Okay, so the God is himself expressing through the wave.
The first form to be expressed, I said, is wave-like form. From the wave-like form came light-like form. From light-like form came line-like form. Geometrical patterns. Geometrical patterns came into sculptures or paintings. And those paintings were given words. That is, I just gave you the journey. I just gave you the journey. Don't take everything literally that the brain had a wave or something. Right? Maybe you can drown in the sea and the brain has an intelligence. Right? It can save you. Right? It saved me one day.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to express what we see with our guru? Because you said that we should not reveal.
See, there are two parts to a spiritual experience. One, when the experience comes, and the experience comes in a flash. It takes a long time for the body-brain system to assimilate that experience. So it has to become a part of our cells, of our blood, of our understanding. Sometimes it takes a couple of years. That is why I say, if you express it immediately, then the ego has taken possession of it. And let it settle inside for some time before expressing it. You can express it, but the first thing is to allow it to settle for some time. Let it become a part of you. It has come from some higher source. Let it digest inside. Let it become a part of my blood system. Then you can express it. Once you own it, not own in the sense of owning money, once it is a part of your being, then you're allowed to express it because then you can express it wherever you go. But if it just comes, it is still foreign. Can you understand? Then we are not expressing something which we have digested properly. It is like I read something and I give a lecture. Can you understand? I've not experienced anything, right? Nothing is a part of my being. But I'm good at reading and I put together certain things and I talk about it. Then it won't last long. Won't last long.
Thank you. And one more question.
Yeah.
We are not allowed to use I. Can we use we instead?
Yeah, where necessary. And my thing was to bring in consciousness. So even don't use we unless necessary. Try to reframe the sentence so the other person understands without us using the word I. For that you will have to become conscious and bring in intelligence. Right? There will be a descent of intelligence. Right? And I think 90 to 95% of conversation we can do without using the word I or even with we also. Right? Shall we stop here? Right? Thank you. We meet at 4:30.